Boeing has been around for a long time. The 737 has been around since the end of, well, the 60s, and it's quite a remarkable aircraft. But lately, Boeing's been kind of crapping the bed. I'm not gonna lie. And today, we gotta kind of ask ourselves, with all the things happening in the media, can we trust Boeing? Especially the new 737 MAX. Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be good? We're going to figure that out today here on FTD Facts. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to FTD Facts. My name is Dave Walpole, and I hope you guys are all having just an amazing day. And yeah, you've probably clicked on this video because you already know about all the stuff that's happening with Boeing. You probably know the backstory. And yeah, if you're liking this stuff, hit that like and that subscribe button and the bell notification so you can stay in tune to what we're doing. But for some of you guys, you might not know what is going on, so I'm going to do a quick little recap before we get into asking the question, can Boeing be trusted? Let's roll. Now, the Boeing 737 MAX, it's a rather new version of the Boeing 737. Very similar, but it's got new engines, bells and whistles, and all that lovely jazz, and a computer system, which I'm going to get into. Now, this particular version of the plane was released to the world on May 22nd, 2017. However, on October 29th, 2018, one went down into the Java Sea. And shortly after that, on March 10th in 2019, another went down. And of course, because of a worldwide incident like that, you got all these news companies that just picked up the story and ran with it. Now, shortly after this, on March 13th, 2019, the FAA made it mandatory that all 737 MAX planes be grounded immediately, which resulted in a worldwide grounding. Countries were basically saying, no, you can't fly these planes until you get them fixed. And that's what Boeing's been doing, a lot of damage control. And as a matter of fact, even shortly after that, Boeing halted the production of the 737 MAX until they could figure out what was wrong. Interesting enough, you'd think that when something like this happens, like a major plane being, not really recalled, but grounded and production halting, you think that Boeing would lose a lot of money in the stock market. Well, actually, it really didn't. On April 8th of 2019, the stock for Boeing dropped only 4.4% after the company said they were no longer producing these planes, at least for a while. So the big question is, yes, you're wondering it because you are probably a flyer yourself. Can we trust the Boeing 737 MAX? Can we trust Boeing as a company? Well, let's take a look at this from a company perspective. A lot of analysts have stated that as soon as the Boeing 737 MAX is back up in the air, the stock for Boeing is going to soar. So it's very imperative that Boeing get these planes not only operational and working, but they also have to have a really clean and good safety record. Because although their stock is not down, it's not really hurting too much, but it is in the penalty box, and if they don't fix it soon, it could really hurt the company. To add to this, the grounding of these airplanes has caused an absolute nightmare for airline companies in some sense. As of June 2019, people are still getting bumped around because of the grounding of these aircrafts. Keep in mind, what you see and hear in the headlines is not immediately what you think. People getting bumped, it's actually quite low. As a matter of fact, for most airlines, it's about 0.32 out of 1,000 people. However, that is still double of last year for some airline companies, but there are other companies out there like American Airlines and Southwest Airlines who've said, we haven't had any negative things because of the grounding of the 737 MAX. We're still good. Can we trust the company is still the main question. And for Boeing, well, let's be perfectly honest, there is a story out there that doesn't really bode too well for folks like you and me, and that is Boeing knew about a sensory warning light problem way back in the day, and they said they weren't going to fix it for 3 years until 2020. This particular warning tells pilots when the angle of airflow or wing degree don't match up. This is also called an angle of attack sensor, or a AOA disagree alert. And according to a U.S. congressman, they stated that Boeing is now fixing the problem because of what happened. But Boeing did say that this was just a warning light issue. It had nothing to do really with the safety and performance of the aircraft. So I can see what they mean there, but a warning light is very important. Another hit against Boeing currently is that the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration stated that Boeing parts in other planes may also be faulty. Now, these parts are called the edge slat tracks that help move the wings for additional lift. Boeing has stated even if these things were faulty in a lot of airplanes, it would not cause a hull loss of an aircraft. That being said, many airline companies around the world are checking to make sure that they don't have these faulty pieces of equipment in their plane. Should also be mentioned that these slats were also made by a third-party company and not Boeing themselves. But however, the biggest problem, and I said I would talk about this, is the software update. Now, this is the most recent news, and this is the one you really want to pay attention to. As of May 16th, 2019, Boeing made it clear that the company had completed its update of its software. This software is known as the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, which assists in flight control for things like pitch stability of the aircraft. This software has also been in testing since at least April 6th of 2019 through simulators and engineering tests. The reason they figured out that this was the issue that caused these incidents was that Boeing discovered that the system was activated in the final stages of the flights. Now, I'll get into a little bit of understanding the software in a little bit, because the one thing that would be taken from that is when that thing was activated, it would screw up so hard that it would put the plane into an uncontrollable nosedive. And that's what happened. With the software update now complete, worldwide air officials are meeting to discuss the future of the plane. As a matter of fact, on May 23rd, the FAA held a meeting with 33 global regulators to discuss this issue. And although Boeing has done its tests, the FAA will also need to conduct its own safety simulations. But as for the update to this system, it makes the software no longer kick in if there is a discrepancy of over 5.5 degrees with the plan of attack sensors. That was those sensors that I mentioned earlier that had the warning light attached to it. As well, now it takes measurements from multiple sensors instead of just one, which helps really figure out how accurate these sensors are. On top of that, now pilots can override the system and take control of the airplane if something indeed does go wrong. Whereas in the past situation, these alerts went off because of incorrect measurements that went into the computer and the system kicked in, and unfortunately pilots couldn't take over the system and control the aircraft. Now, I don't know about you, but Boeing, I'm just going to do a little rant here. I don't know what the heck you guys were thinking. I'm just going to say this. I don't know about you. I mean, I know all you viewers, you use your phones, your phones break down. I learned my lesson about technology years ago when I had the 3 ring of death on my Xbox. Heck, I learned my lesson about technology after watching The Terminator. You should never, ever trust technology. It's always going to fail. I don't know what corporate boneheads. I mean, you guys wear suits and you're supposed to be really, really high up there. And you guys, look what happened because you guys trusted a computer system. You fools. And I don't know about you, the viewer out there, but I feel like Boeing didn't necessarily do their historical homework because there's been a lot of problems with aviation, technology failing in the past. For example, the F-22 Raptor, which is also a Boeing aircraft made with Lockheed Martin, in the past, it had a major problem with the computer giving the correct amount of oxygen to its pilots in high G maneuver situations. And that situation caused hypoxia, memory loss, and it wasn't good for the pilots. I don't know how Boeing didn't learn from this in the past. So it already makes me go, I don't know if I really, really trust them because they're clearly not learning from things that happened in the past. So right now, when it comes to the software update, it's still in sort of limbo. They're still figuring things out. Hopefully in a couple of months, we'll know a little bit more, but we don't know until that information comes from the FAA and the worldwide regulators. But however, the biggest challenge I think for Boeing when it comes to you and me trusting them is simply you and me trusting them, and they are not going to have an easy time because of the stigma left behind with these planes. Because I don't know about you, but when you go flying and if you hear that you're on a 737 MAX, you might just go, wait a minute, what? So the corporate image of the company is now one of the biggest things that they have to fix. That being said, in defense of Boeing, there have been a lot of issues with past planes. I mean, look at the list of bad things that have happened to Boeing aircrafts. It's just insane. Now, these are the ones that are written about when it comes to hull losses and, unfortunately, lives lost. And also, I mean, just it looks like a lot, but you got to think how many flight hours there are up in the air, so it's actually quite low. So yes, flying is still the safest way to travel. But to give you an idea, their last major upgrade of the 737, which was the NG or the next generation version, there were bad things that happened to that aircraft every single year. It just happens. For the NG series, shortly after their release, they had major losses on September 29th, 2006, and again on May 5th, 2007. In both cases, there were over 100 people on board with no survivors. But the thing is, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of all forgotten about now. I mean, that's kind of the thing is, you know, you don't think about those things that have happened in the past. It's just, you know, it's time has let it go. And I guess, yeah, my moral is that time heals all wounds and makes us forget about a lot of different things. Because no matter how bad things get, you will always forgive people. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I hope you guys liked this video. I tried to give you guys as much information as you possibly can for your own judgment. Do you trust Boeing? Let me know down there in the comments section below. But my name is Dave Wapple, and if you guys like this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification, and you guys just, you know, come watch us stuff every single day. Every single Monday, actually, I learn about new countries, so be sure to tune in every single Monday because I love learning about new places. It's more of a positive video than a opinion video like this, which is great. So check those out. I'll see you guys later. Okay, so by the way, here's some cool playlists that I think you guys will really like and enjoy. If you want to learn more about Boeing, I've got like a nice Boeing playlist for you guys. But yeah, here, check out the countries playlists. Favorite that one, and we have a new video every single Monday about new countries. It's great. Expand your mind. Okay, all right, bye.